Good evening and welcome to the Gahanna City Council meeting for Monday, March 3rd, 2025. If you would please join me to stand with Councilman Trenton Weaver delivering the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. As we gather, we are grateful for, appreciate, and use each day that comes before us. For each day's duties and in each day's difficulties, we are challenged to give our best always in service to one another and to our community. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Weaver. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Bowers.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
McGregor.
Here.
Padova.
Here.
Renner.
Here.
Schnetzer.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections to tonight's agenda? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on this evening. Thank you and welcome to all the guests that are joining us this evening. It's great to see you all here. We have a couple of presentations this evening. We will start off with a joint resolution proclamation in honor of Women's History Month. And this evening we are honoring London Studer, who is a Gahanna Lincoln High School graduate and woman baseball player. I'll open this evening with sharing some remarks about London and then turn it over to my colleagues and Mayor Jadwin for their remarks. We'll then go ahead and take some pictures and then open the floor to London for her remarks. So as we recognize Women's History Month here in Gahanna, we celebrate the achievements, courage, and determination of women who have shaped history, broken barriers, and inspired future generations. Tonight, we are honored to present this joint resolution and proclamation in recognition of Women's History Month to someone who is making history in real time, London Studer, a 2024 graduate of Gahanna Lincoln High School. London's accomplishments on the baseball field are nothing short of remarkable. From being the only girl at the age of 11 in the prestigious USSSA All-American Games to the U.S. Women's National Team and the WSBC Women's World Cup in 2023. She has proven that talent, dedication, and hard work know no gender. She stepped onto the field first through Gahanna's rec leagues and then through travel and school teams, not just as a player, but also as a trailblazer, challenging outdated notions of who belongs in the game and inspiring young athletes, especially girls, to pursue their passions without limits. I am particularly touched by London's reflection in a 2017 WOSU article that she learned how to play from her mom, Mona, who introduced her to wiffle balls and a plastic bat. You can see on the screen some of the pictures from when London was 4. And go to the YouTube video to watch her hit nearly every pitch that's thrown to her. Her parents, Scott and Mona, have continued to be instrumental in supporting her success. And some of what I learned from her dad, Scott, who is very proud of London, he shared that London is the first girl to ever play baseball for Gahanna Lincoln High School, that she has been recognized as the MVP over a dozen times, has pitched multiple no-hitters, one game with an incredible 17 strikeouts. Her fastball tops out at 81 miles an hour, and she consistently throws 75-mile-an-hour pitches. Not only that, she consistently bats over 500, has hit multiple home runs in the same game, and has a grand slam under her belt. She was invited to the Elite Development Invitational USA Baseball and Major League Baseball 2 consecutive years and was awarded all expenses paid trips to work out with Women's National Baseball Team and to the World Series. Her accomplishments are truly remarkable. Women's History Month is about more than looking back. It is about celebrating the present and shaping the future. London embodies what this month represents: the courage to break barriers, the resilience to push forward, and the strength to empower others along the way. Through her success, she has opened doors for more young women to step confidently into spaces where they've been underrepresented and to claim their place, whether in sports, leadership, or any other pursuit. We are excited for what the future holds for London, perhaps through the Women's Professional League that is in the works. Athletics is more than competition. It's about discipline, wellness, and the joy of the game. London reminds us all that sports should be a space for everyone, and that every young person deserves the opportunity to play, to grow, and to dream without limits. London, your journey is history in the making, and we are so proud to celebrate you today. On behalf of the City of Gahanna, we thank you for your contributions to women's history, for inspiring the next generation, and showing us all what it means to live boldly and break barriers. Congratulations. With that, I will turn it over to my colleagues and perhaps Mayor Jadwin if you have any comments this evening.
London, how are you? It's good. It's good to see you, my friend. It has just been, I've known you, I'm trying to remember how many years it's been since I've known you, but it has just been such a joy through your Gahanna Lincoln High School days to watch you grow and blossom as a leader, as an inspiration, as a role model. I can say, as a woman in a leadership position, I'm in this role because there was a woman before me who broke a barrier and fought to have a seat around the table, and you have done that already, and you continue to do that. As a baseball fan, you're like I'm your super fan. So I just love watching you play, especially when you were with the Gahanna Bananas last year, which you were the unofficial team captain. And we look forward to welcoming you back this year on May 17th, Gahanna Bananas versus the High Village Muffins, but London will join us again. But it's just truly an honor to be able to recognize you tonight for the work that you're doing and to, again, reiterate what Council President Bauer said, just breaking barriers and continue to keep doing that because we're going to watch you succeed and go all the way.
We'll go ahead and join you and your family down here for a picture and present you the resolution. Yep, go ahead, come right up to the podium.
I wanted to say thank you to everyone on the board. Is that what I call it? I want to say thank you to all of you guys. You have really made this possible and put it into perspective. That women do have, they've broken barriers, and you've kind of given that you've made it more than just words. It's really an honor, and I appreciate every single one of you that has given me this opportunity. And I love to see that women are breaking barriers and that it's actually being recognized. I'll say that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, and congratulations again. We look forward to seeing what comes next for you. All right, so the next presentation we have on this evening's agenda is a quick recap of the Walk for Women weekend that was hosted at the beginning of February. I'm going to join you from the podium to kick this off and just take a few minutes of time to memorialize the event. So, good evening, colleagues, and to everyone here in attendance this evening. As you all, I think, know, February 1st and 2nd, the City of Gahanna, in partnership with Visit Gahanna and GPD, hosted the Walk for Women weekend. This event was inspired by wanting to ensure that women felt safe and felt free to move about our community. With some events that had taken place late last year, I had heard from some of my running friends throughout the community that they were a little bit more concerned and certainly feeling a little bit more on edge than we want our community to feel. And given the fact, to Mayor Jadwin's point, that we are a community full of women leaders, I thought it was important that we stood up and made sure that it was clear to our community that we stand with them and stand to ensure everyone's safety throughout our community, and especially that of women using our trails and sidewalks throughout Gahanna. So first off, I wanted to highlight Girls on the Run. Girls on the Run is a nonprofit organization that was able to receive a significant donation as part of the Walk for Women weekend. The White Castle Foundation and Second Soul gifted Girls on the Run as a cash donation as part of the weekend's events. And so this evening, I'd like to welcome Krista Frost and Sarah Hyder to come up and share a little bit about the organization.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Hyder. I'm the Executive Director of Girls on the Run of Central Ohio.
And I'm Krista Frost. I am the Marketing and Development Manager for Girls on the Run of Central Ohio. And thank you so much for inviting us here. Obviously, we're very excited about this, and we obviously recognize Women's History Month. It's very important to us. But what we had a few weeks ago in February, just highlighting the importance of safety, that was actually, I feel like, one of the first times I've really seen a conversation like that happen really in a community setting. And it's obviously very important, but we have a lot of girls that are running too, so we want to make sure that they also have those tools to make sure that they're safe and getting all the help that they need inside and out, and loving movement and being safe as they do that, right?
Yes. So we are so honored to be here to celebrate Women's History Month, and especially today is a special day for our council here in Central Ohio as well. It's the first day of our spring programming season, kicked off today, and we have over 75 teams throughout Central Ohio and over 1,100 girls who are participating in our program. So we'll share a little bit about what we do exactly.
Yeah, so our mission is that we inspire girls to be joyful, healthy, and confident using fun, experience-based curriculum which creatively integrates running. We want to make sure that those girls are having fun as they're learning all kinds of lessons about how to be better, more confident in who they are. Our vision, we envision a world where every girl knows and activates her limitless potential and is free to boldly pursue her dreams, whatever they may be. If she wants to be an astronaut or president of city council or anything like that, right?
And so just like Marissa and the Second Soul and White Castle did in the Gahanna community in providing a safe space for women to be able to be physically active, we try to do the same for girls at Girls on the Run so that they can find comfort and joy and confidence in physical activity while also going through the social emotional learning curriculum where they're learning more about themselves, the unique things that make them powerful. They're learning how to work with others, they're learning resiliency skills, and ultimately they're also learning the role that they play and the power that they have in their communities by completing their chosen community impact project. So they can learn, if they see something that they want to change, they can stand up for themselves and others and make that change. We were founded here in Central Ohio in 2008. We started with just one team in Bexley many years ago, and now we serve those 8 counties here you see on the screen. And since 2008, we have served over 20,000 girls in those counties, which is truly only possible because of supporters, our coaches, our volunteer coaches, the people who make donations possible. And the big piece of that is that we never turn a girl away from participating in Girls on the Run programming due to a lack of any financial resources or resources to shoes and leggings. We work to make all of that possible so that she can truly fall in love with physical activity, so that she can either go on to become an amazing athlete like London, or maybe she might just become a lifelong walker. We consider both of those to be incredible accomplishments and some holistic, healthy goals that we want girls to have. And on Women's History Month, too, just want to leave with a fun fact about Girls on the Run. So all of our coaches are volunteer coaches. And when we look at the country's youth development sports programming, only 26% of head coaches in youth sports are women, but at Girls on the Run, 98% of our coaches are head coaches. So we hope that it's also a learning opportunity and a leadership opportunity for women and girls. So thank you so much. I believe the slides will be available if anyone's interested in learning more. We've got a lot of information, but appreciate the opportunity to celebrate Women's History Month with you. Thank you.
And as I mentioned, the presentation of the donation was made during the Runner and Safety Talk that was hosted at Second Soul, held by Community Liaison Officer Blair Thomas and Lieutenant Kissel. So I wanted to invite Chief Spence up to share a few words about the GPD's participation and that event.
Thank you. So this opportunity was one of three just in this quarter that we were able to provide safety information to the community. We had a big turnout. Obviously, we try to keep those classes small so we can have as much interaction and engagement as possible. Again, one of three. We just did one with our senior community, I believe, last week, and then one earlier last month in which actually the mayor participated in. So anytime we get an opportunity to pass on those safety tips, it keeps not only Gahanna safe, but the broader community safe. This was an opportunity also to bring our community liaison officers and also our community paramedic out for that event, and there was a lot of good, positive interactions. So again, great opportunity for us, but it did provide another platform so that we can continue these educational sessions out in the community that are becoming more and more popular, and we're getting the word out. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Spence. And then the second event was hosted on Sunday, February 2nd, which was the walk itself, which started at the Gahanna swimming pool and concluded at Creekside. We were joined by a number of elected officials from across the region, and over 100 people gathered to reclaim space and make connections. State Senator Beth Liston, State Representative Meredith Lawson-Rowe, were there, and they presented on behalf of our state representative, Burl Brown Pickle Antonio, a commendation recognizing the importance of the Walk for Women weekend. We had representation also from the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office, and that was a great opportunity for assistant prosecutors to interact with our community, to put eyes on some of the spaces that exist here, and to shake hands with a number of the officers that they would potentially work with. Thank you to all of the Gahanna elected officials, including Mayor Jadwin, to the various school board members, including Kara Coates, President Kara Coates, and Superintendent Dr. Deagle, for attending to show their support. It was really a wonderful opportunity for people from across the region to come together. Following the conclusion of the walk, the Ohio Herb Center hosted a self-care open house, and unfortunately, Amanda Ferguson was not able to make it this evening. She is the Ohio Herb Center coordinator. Lori Kappas is here this evening from Visit Gahanna, and I'm very grateful for her support as well. On Amanda's behalf, I just wanted to share a statement about the self-care workshops that were hosted at the Herb Center for participants to participate in. We focused on body, mind, and soul with activities for participants to bring awareness to these concepts. These principles of these self-care activities were also available as handouts to anyone who would like them. We had about 25 people come into the Ohio Herb Center and 2 volunteers who assisted during the event. The Ohio Herb Center was proud to participate in this cause to support the community. Being founded by strong Gahanna women, we were more than happy to support this endeavor, knowing the Gahanna Herb ladies would be proud. I think the overall weekend was a success, and we saw a lot of benefits and collateral relationships that were able to be developed, we certainly accomplished what we set out to do, to reclaim our space, to reaffirm our commitment to our collective safety, and to build connections with one another. The weekend helped amplify the resources already available to the community, including the recurring self-defense courses offered through the Gahanna Division of Police, and to recommit to collaborative relationships. Thank you again to Chief Spence, Community Liaison Officer Thomas, and Lieutenant Kissel, the entire GPD, for their support of the weekend. Thank you so much to Council office staff, Visit Gahanna, Parks and Rec, and to everyone who made the event possible. By building community together, we can move our entire community forward to a future where we can not just aspire, but we can actually reach our full potential. Thank you for your time this evening. Our next item on the agenda this evening is a strategic plan update from our Gahanna. Hosted by Planning Next, we have Sarah Bongiorno and Bailey Moreland.
Good evening. We're happy to be here. I'm Sarah Bongiorno, Director with Planning Next. Bailey's here with me. She's one of our senior planners. And we've been working with the community now for a few months, and we're here to give you an update on the Gahanna strategic plan. We've just finished our first round of engagement. So our report out tonight is going to consist of two components, like who did we hear from and what did we hear. But I would like to say before we jump into this that we, working with a steering committee, there is a citizen steering committee that's helping on this project, and we, along with them, put forth a pretty lofty goal to engage 1,000 people in this first round to make sure we're getting out and hearing from folks in Gahanna. And I'm happy to say that we met that goal, but it's not only a numbers game, right? I think we've talked about this with our steering committee and with the staff team, but it's really about getting representative engagement, and so it was really a charge to track participation throughout the process and see where we are with some key demographics, which Bailey's going to share here in just a minute. But so we're feeling really good about this first round, and we're excited to share with you tonight.
So the first round of engagement included multiple formats. We asked our steering committee members and members of the City of Gahanna staff to go out into the community and conduct meeting in boxes. Those were small format table talks that were up to around 10 people, and it had three activities in those boxes, which we will go over, but we also had an online survey for the duration of this round of engagement. So we tried to make it very easy for anyone who wanted to participate. We also had a table at the YMCA for people there to participate as they were walking by. So as Sarah said, we did reach over 1,000 participants, which we are very happy about. We're very happy to reach our goal. 86 meeting in boxes were completed throughout the months of January up to February 19th. So that's really great. We had meeting in boxes completed all around the community. We had meeting in boxes completed here at the city offices with some students at the high school, and really reached out to a lot of community groups. So that's great as well. We had more than 400 online survey participants with more than 2,400 love inputs, and Sarah's going to kind of go over what we were asking in these questions. More than 1,200 unique inputs, and then more than 900 postcards. So we took those all back to our office and read all of them. Sometimes people think, oh, no one's going to read this, but we do. We read all of them. So looking at who did we hear from, this yellow line here is data from the United States Census Bureau on the city of Gahanna, and these blue bars are what we reached here in the city of Gahanna in the first round of engagement. So the yellow is sort of what we were reaching for, and the blue is what we actually got. This here is a chart about age. So we broke down all of our participants by the ages, and you'll see that we were a little low in participation in the 20 to 24 year age group, and a little bit low in the 25 to 34-year age group. I do want to note that we will be tracking engagement through we will be tracking these demographics through the rest of our engagement as well. So even though we were a little low on these two age groups, we will be paying very close attention through our next rounds of engagement, and we'll be really kind of focusing on how we can get the word out to these demographics to make sure that we bring their participation up in the future. Looking at race and ethnicity, we did pretty good. However, we were very slightly low on Black and African American on the Black and African American demographic. You'll also notice that we were slightly low on the demographic identifying as 2 or more races. However, I do want to note that that is a little bit hard to track just because some people don't identify that way. They don't self-identify that way in our exit questionnaires. So we'll be keeping very close eye on this as we move forward for future engagement rounds as well. And then finally, looking at the Hispanic and Latino demographic, we were just slightly low on those who identify as Hispanic and Latino. So moving forward, we have 2 additional rounds of engagement, and we will be keeping a very close eye on those demographics that we were low in this round. And you will notice, we'll kind of share some of our plans for the second round of engagement. You'll notice that we have some very specific ways that we're going to reach out to those demographics in the next round.
Okay, so as Bailey mentioned, we had 3 activities as part of this meeting in a box approach for this first round. So the first was we were calling Love Notes to Gahanna. So what do people love about Gahanna today? And we wanted to gather as many of those as we could. We had folks filling out Post-its. They put it on a poster sheet, and I think some of those images you saw earlier, people were holding up their love notes to Gahanna. We also had an activity about really stretching them to think about what makes Gahanna unique as compared to other Central Ohio communities. So really digging into, and I know that when we were facilitating this, really trying to get people to think specifically about what is it about Gahanna that people value that is unique. And then we got people thinking about the future, and we had them write a postcard to somebody, we called it the postcard from the future. Asked them to write a postcard to somebody about coming back in 10, 15, 20 years, and what does Gahanna look like, and how has it changed, and what do they see? And so we got a lot of good input from these 3 different activities. And then, as Bailey said, we had the Tell Us About Yourself survey at the end. And I will say that we had a good, 80% return rate on the exit questionnaire or the Tell Us About Yourself at the end. So even though in some of those demographics, we do the best we can asking people to fill out that portion of it. It's on the online survey, and it was in the table of talks as well. Not everybody chooses to fill that out, so but we had a good return rate on that, so we feel pretty good about our numbers. So the Love Notes themes. So we went through, again, as Bailey said, we looked at everything people said, and we tried to make some sense of it, tried to see what people were saying, and put together some high-level themes. So from that first activity about what they love most about Gahanna, a lot of people said the people themselves, the sense of community, the culture here, the neighborhoods, the diversity. They were all things that people really valued. But there was things to do. There was amenities, events, assets. They really appreciated the outdoor recreation, lots of mentions of the parks, the nature, the trails, and recreation that are offered here. And the location, people really love just the access within the region. A lot of people talked about ease of living or the livability within Gahanna. Some of that is just innate to where you sit relative to the airport and stuff, but just the idea that you can get within Gahanna and to and from Gahanna easily. And then a number of mentions about the quality of city services, leadership and resources and safety, and how they feel that there's good government leadership here. When we asked people what they felt made Gahanna most unique as compared to other Central Ohio suburban communities, you'll see some of the same themes that we kind of dug in a little bit. So people really appreciated this focus on, preserving and sustainability, the pride in those green and natural spaces like the trails and the parks. People mention Creekside as a gathering place, but also mention that there's maybe more potential there that can be captured. Again, mentioning the welcoming community and neighbors with strong bonds, and that it's an inclusive place, that people feel welcome here. Again, the convenience, access to Columbus, to the highways, and other areas of interest, even getting out of town into Licking County and some of the rural areas to get out of the city. And then there was also mentions of the high-quality schools and teachers and educational programs that people felt were really good and stood out for Gahanna. And then the future Gahanna themes from the postcards. Again, I think almost like 37% of people mentioned Creekside in their postcards. So they were talking about a future Creekside and how it was vibrant and lively and walkable and more robust, and uses words like expanded, offerings, and maybe even expanded footprint. I don't know what they meant, but lots of ideas around Creekside. Also, this idea of connected. People talk about being able to walk everywhere, and that cars are optional, and there's public transit options, and lots of connected trails and things. So people really appreciate that walkability and being connected. And then some general themes around vibrancy, just mentioning more amenities and more events and more entertainment and things that brought people together. Mentions of education, continued to have strong schools and programs. And then there were some mentions around just engagement, I would say, like engagement with each other, with community organizations, with government planning, and how, been able to manage growth in Gahanna in a good way so that it still has all the things that people love about Gahanna today, but is thriving in the future. So we've enjoyed looking through all the thousands of pieces of input, and now we're at the point now where, oh yeah, why wasn't it going forward? Oh, there we go. I put a few examples of the postcards in here. This is a lot of text, so maybe it's a little hard to read, and I won't read them for you, but you can see this is the verbatim of some of the postcards that people wrote, talking about paths and biking lanes, and that Creekside is expanded. People talk about bus lanes, bike lanes, sidewalks to increase safety. The city now has robust engagement opportunities, support female leaders and young professionals. City's vibrant with parks and connected trail systems. So there's some good nuggets in there, and people, I think, have a very positive view of the future. And then we also asked folks to draw if they wanted on the back of the postcard, so they could draw a picture. And so we got, I think, quite a few, actually, more than I thought. But I didn't know if people would draw or not. But people enjoyed taking a shot at what they thought the future Gahanna would look like. So anyway, there's somebody's postcard that we thought spend some time on their drawing there. Okay, so you might be wondering, what are we doing next with all of this input? And so we're in what we're calling the plan framework development phase now. So we're taking all the input that we've heard from folks in this first round, and we have framed up a sort of straw man that we tested with the steering committee at their meeting a couple weeks ago. We got their feedback. We're working with the internal staff team to refine that a bit, and we will come back out to council to share it with you. But those three activities are basically setting up our vision, our values, and our strategic focuses for the plan document, for the strategic plan. Bailey mentioned round 2 engagement. We're in the processes of designing that, but right now we're having several events across a time frame, May 6th, 7th, and 8th. Promotion will start with State of the City, so we'll have most of April to promote through different community activities and things happening in the community. We will be testing the plan framework during those events. We'll have stations with input gathering around major strategic focuses for the plan, and we will also have an online survey that will be open for the month of May as well. And some of the things that we're planning during this time frame is Tuesday Taco Fest. I forget what we're exactly calling it, to try to tap into families. We're working with Parks and Rec. We understand that the Parks and Rec do a phenomenal programming. People really come out for the Parks and Rec programming here, so we're partnering with them and do a really fun activity for families to come out and also be able to provide their input. We're planning a minority and small business kind of networking coffee thing, senior lunch, and young professional happy hour, trying to reach some of those demographics. If you remember back, that we were kind of missing the 20 to 35-year-olds. So trying to do some activities that they might be interested in at one of the local breweries. And then reaching back out to the high school students through the Key Club and through the Youth Advisory Group, trying to re-engage with them as well sometime during that week is our target as well. So I think we learned a lot in this first round. It was definitely a group effort. I know several of you hosted Meeting in a Boxes, and we appreciate that. Our steering committee really stepped up. Staff did a phenomenal job reaching out to different groups. We did a couple open call ones where anyone could come and participate. So we think we're off to a great start, and we're hoping those 1,000 people will stay with us and continue. We'll pick up more people on the way as we move through this process. So with that, I'll conclude, and if you have any questions, I'll take questions. Okay.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from my colleagues? Mrs. McGregor.
On the slide that had the Hispanic numbers, what was the bar? There was a bar on the right of the, and I saw it, I looked at it in the email today, and I couldn't quite figure out what that represented. It's way at the beginning, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll go back here quick. This
There.
one.
What's,
So the census data and our participants, if they identified as Hispanic or Latino, so there's like 4% in your community, and we reached 3% in this first round.
okay. What's the second bar?
That's if folks said no, like they're not Hispanic.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
just showing the balance.
Okay, I couldn't
Yeah,
quite.
that's okay.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in. We really appreciate the update. And I think for a lot of us, this tracks with, what we hear from the community as well. So it's great to see that reinforced.
Yep, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our presentations for this evening. So we will move on to section D of this evening's agenda. We have 2 speaker slips this evening. First, I have a speaker slip from Mr. Gene Poyer. Mr. Poyer, if you'd like to approach the podium, and please state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes for your remarks.
Council members, and Mayor Jadwin, good evening. My name is Gene Poyer. I'm a resident at Walnut Trace Senior Living, 389 Old Ridenhour Road, with about 85 other senior citizens. We are an active community whose residents, some with mobility issues, enjoy walking along the paths that Gahanna has provided, especially along the Old Ridenhour Road path adjacent to the golf course. To do this, however, we have to cross Old Ridenhour Road. Currently, there is no safe way for the residents or any pedestrian to cross Old Ridenhour. The posted speed limit is 15 miles an hour, but the vast majority of cars go much faster. I've estimated cars going 35 and even 40 miles an hour. The speed limit is not enforced. Parents with children come down from McCorkle Park to cross Old Ridenhour. Residents from the River's Edge neighborhood cross Old Ridenhour. Not to mention the many people who cross in the summertime to watch the soccer games at Lower McCorkle Park. It just isn't safe. On behalf of the residents of Walnut Trace and in the interest of community safety, I'm asking that the city consider a mid-block pedestrian crosswalk be built, along with appropriate signage, from the northeast corner of the Walnut Trace property across Old Ridenhour to the existing walking path on the east side of the road. This would provide an easily accessible, safe, and designated way to cross Old Ridenhour for all pedestrians. There is a crosswalk about 500 feet south of Walnut Trace at Chapel Field, but there's no safe way to get there. There's no sidewalk on the west side of Old Ridenhour, and the ground is very uneven. So I ask that the city visit the location, provide the necessary funding, and build this much-needed crosswalk. If a pedestrian was struck by a vehicle while trying to cross Old Ridenhour at this location, would he be at fault because he wasn't in a crosswalk? Thank you for this time.
Thank you, Mr. Poyer. Yes, Mayor Jadwin.
Mr. Pointer, thank you so much for your comments. Wanted to let you know we actually have an RFP out, or we'll be issuing an RFP to actually install a crosswalk, because we've heard from residents, we've visited the site, so coming soon to a neighborhood near you, we'll be taking care of that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a second speaker slip this evening, Kathy McCorkle. Mrs. McCorkle, if you would state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes for your comments.
Kathy McCorkle, 677 Piccadilly, Gahanna. Good evening, everyone. I am proposing a yearly joint proclamation and resolution to be adopted by the City of Gahanna, recognizing and celebrating the natural family. I have a draft copy of a resolution, and I will be reaching out to someone authorized to bring this before council and to work with whomever necessary to bring this forward this year and to honor and celebrate the natural family during the time period beginning Mother's Day in May through Father's Day in June of 2025. The proclamation and resolution should urge the Gahanna community and its citizens, churches, religious organizations, and businesses to make an effort to support, honor, and celebrate the natural family by participating in family-oriented events from Mother's Day through Father's Day. I was informed that other localities and states have declared for a natural family month, and that the city of Delaware, Ohio, will soon be doing the same. Let Gahanna be among those who are leading the way with this. Many of Gahanna's proclamations and resolutions recognize and celebrate cultures and political and special interests. Black History Month, Women's History Month, Pride Month, Distracted Driving Month, Hindu Heritage Month, to name a few. The natural family is vital to the health of our community, and it's been the foundation of all societies down through the ages. Let's not overlook it or ignore it any longer. The natural family is the oldest institution in all of mankind's history, and it was created by Almighty God Himself. So let's get started on this. Let's all work to get this done and to celebrate the natural family from Mother's Day through Father's Day this year. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I do not have any other speaker slips this evening. Mr. Van Meter? Okay. We will move on to Section E of tonight's agenda, public hearings. We have one item for public hearing this evening I don't believe the administration has any presentation to start, but would be available for questions. Public comments will be opened for 3 minutes allowed per speaker. Speakers are asked to complete a speaker slip and come to the podium when called and state your name and address for the record. Additional time, if needed, may be requested, and permission is a discretion of the President of Council. This evening's public hearing is on Ordinance 0001-2025, an ordinance to amend the City of Gahanna Code Part 11 Zoning Chapter Section 1117.10E1A regarding required improvements and declaring an emergency. This ordinance is necessary because the current zoning code does not specify what types of development, including the size and scale of development or application type, are required to adhere to the standards of Chapter Section 1117.10E. And this means that minor improvements such as a new shed on a residential lot would be subject to the same development standards as a new office building. So this proposed ordinance clarifies that the required improvements defined in 1117.10E are applicable to projects that require site civil engineering plans. So with that, I will open tonight's public hearing. And seeing no speakers for this evening's public hearing. Yes, Mrs. Kovacs. Would you like to submit a speaker slip and then come to the podium? I'm sorry. You can speak and then fill one out. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize there was a speaker time today, but I spoke at a previous meeting about this issue. And there was something I forgot to say, was that I just wish that when a new thoroughfare plan happens, that the people who are affected by it, for example, like putting in an extra lane and a side path on Johnstown Road, that those people would be notified, especially somehow that's going to change their street and they have to maybe give up more right away. And secondly, when someone, this is more for realtors, that if there's some way they could know about the thoroughfare plans, and when they sell a house, you know, let them know, like in the next few years, we're going to be widening this road or something, because the person I spoke about didn't know that was happening. She just had bought the house not that long ago. So that's all I wanted to add that I forgot to say the last time.
And
Thanks.
could you state your name and address
Oh, yeah,
for the record?
Patricia Kovacs, and I live at 527 Habersham Drive.
Thank you, Ms.
Thanks.
Kovacs. All right. All right. Any other speakers wish to be heard this evening on this public hearing for this ordinance? All right. Thank you for your comments this evening, Ms. Kovacs. And with that, we will close this evening's public hearing under Section E of tonight's agenda. We'll move on to Section F, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as published?
So moved, Madam President.
I have a first by Mr. Weaver.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Renner. I'll note on here that this includes Resolution 0006-2025, a joint resolution proclamation advocating for local infrastructure investment and calling on Congress to maintain the tax-exempt status of municipal bonds. And I'd like to express my gratitude to Mr. Van Meter, Mr. Schnetzer, and Mr. Weaver, along with Mayor Jadwin, for your efforts on this advocacy front. All right. If there's no further discussion, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Weaver,
Yes.
Renner,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes. Motion carries. The consent agenda is adopted as published. Section G, resolutions. One resolution on this evening's agenda, Resolution 0007-2025, a joint resolution and proclamation designating March 2025 as Women's History Month in the city of Gahanna. The reason why this appears on the regular agenda versus the consent agenda are the two additions to recognize Ms. Studer's contributions. Is there a first to adopt Resolution 0007-2025?
So moved.
I have a first by Ms. Padova.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Weaver. Is there any discussion this evening? All right, hearing none. Oh, Mr. Weaver, yes.
Briefly, Madam President, thank you for the opportunity. I just want to thank all of our guests who are here this evening and certainly echo some of your comments from earlier recognizing Ms. Studer. Quite the accomplished young woman and looking forward to seeing what is next. Also want to just express my gratitude for the Walk for Women and the incredible and powerful moving weekend that it was. And so thank you to you, and I'll just add, it's an honor serving on this dais with all the women up here, so thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. All right. Any other discussion on this item? All right, hearing none, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Padova,
Yes.
Renner,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Weaver,
Yes.
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries. The Resolution 0007 is adopted as published. All right, Section H, ordinances for second reading and adoption. We have ordinance 0001-2025, an ordinance to amend the City of Gahanna Code Part 11, zoning chapter section 1117.10E1A, required improvements, and declaring an emergency. Is there a first to adopt this resolution, this ordinance with emergency?
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Weaver.
Second.
Second by Mr. Renner. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Weaver,
Yes.
Renner,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 0001-2025 is adopted. Section I, ordinances for introduction, waiver, and adoption. We have 3 ordinances on this evening's agenda. Mr. Van Meter, would you please read the ordinances identified under Section I of tonight's agenda?
Ordinance 0002-2025, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Gahanna, Ohio, to provide amendments to the general offenses Gahanna City Code Sections 533.03, 533.04, 533.05, 537.02, 537.021, 545.07, to provide for penalties, to provide for codification, to provide for severability, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide an effective date, and for other purposes, waiving second reading. Ordinance 0003-2025, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Gahanna, Ohio, to provide amendments to traffic, Gahanna City Code Sections 303.01, 303.081, 303.10, 333.01, 333.07, 335.04, 335.11, 337.26, to provide for penalties, to provide for codification, to provide for severability, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide an effective date, and for other purposes, waiving second reading. Ordinance 0004-2025, an ordinance authorizing supplemental appropriations, waiving second reading, various funds for capital improvement projects.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. If my colleagues are in agreement, I'd like to ask for one motion to waive second reading on ordinance 0002, ordinance 0003, and ordinance 0004 to suspend our rules and move forward to a vote for each of these ordinances.
So moved.
I have a first by Mrs. Jones,
Second.
a second by Mrs. Padova. Any discussion on the motion to suspend rules and waive second reading? Hearing none, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Jones,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Renner,
Yes.
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. We'll now move on to a motion to adopt ordinance 0002-2025.
Sorry.
Yes.
Before we move to a vote on the ordinances, I just want to point out that I realized there was an addition. I just want to make sure everybody knew that there was an addition in that revised red line that came through involving the criminal mischief code. And I noticed that the criminal mischief code section was not listed in the title of the ordinance, so I would be respectfully requesting an amendment for 002-2025 to add 541.04 to the title, to the listed code sections that are affected in the title.
Okay, thank you. Procedurally, we'll do a motion to adopt ordinance 0002 as published, and then I'll entertain a motion to amend the title. We'll vote on the motion to amend, and then we'll vote on the motion to adopt.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. And tell me that code section one more time, Ms. Tamilarison.
541.04,
541.04. Okay,
which would be inserted after 537.021.
thank you. All right. Colleagues, is there a first to adopt ordinance 0002-2025?
Excuse me, can we just do an amendment and then an adoption without doing, just a two-step instead of a three-step? Just make a motion to adopt, to amend, and then a motion to adopt.
I think we're doing that, it's just in a different order.
But you're doing 3 steps instead of 2. It's, okay. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Let's vote on the, yeah.
Um,
Oh, I see.
So, I'm sorry.
I think we're good.
Okay, a motion to adopt ordinance 0002-2025. I would respectfully request a first.
So moved.
Okay, I have a first by Mr. Weaver.
Second.
I have a second by Ms. Padova. The discussion is that there is a requested amendment to the title. Is there any other discussion with regard to this ordinance? Okay. With that, I'd like to request a motion to then amend ordinance 0002-2025 to insert section 541.04 in the title of the ordinance after 537.021. So I'd like to request a first on that motion.
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Weaver.
Second.
I have a second by Ms. Jones. All right, any discussion on the amendment? All right, Mr. Van Meter, would you call the roll with regard to the amendment?
Weaver?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
All right, motion carries and the ordinance is amended as stated. Now we'd like to go back to the roll call on the motion to adopt ordinance 0002-2025 as amended.
Weaver?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes,
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
thank you. All right, we got there, Mrs. McGregor. Thank you. And Ms. Tamilarison, on ordinance 0003, anything on that one?
No, there were some punctuation changes in the red line that created the revised red line, but nothing substantive and no changes to the title there. So thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney Tamilarison. All right, with that, I'd like to request a motion to adopt, or first on a motion to adopt ordinance 0003-2025.
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Weaver.
Second.
I have a second by Padova. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you call the roll?
Weaver?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. Ordinance 0003-2025 is adopted. I'd like to request a motion to adopt ordinance 0004-2025, an ordinance supplementing authorizing supplemental appropriations. Is there a first?
So moved.
First by Mr. Schnetzer,
Second.
second by Mr. Weaver. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes.
Since this process is a bit new, I was hoping that the administration, look in your direction, Mr. Schultz, to put you on the spot, and maybe, maybe 5 sentences or less, just briefly kind of describe why these are coming forward. For anyone that may be in the audience or encountering these meeting minutes 6 months or 6 years from now, wondering what exactly is going on here. Obviously, this is a good thing. These are projects that have been funds that have been returned but then reallocated, but this is nothing new. So I'm wondering if you can encapsulate that in just a couple of sound bites.
I'm going to stand, so I try and keep it to 5 sentences or less. So these are projects where we hadn't met the procurement thresholds in order to encumber funds by the end of 2024. So as part of our new process, and increased transparency with you folks, and then obviously to the public, these funds were returned at the end of the year, and all we're simply doing with this particular action is re-requesting these to be put back into the 2025 budget so that those projects can continue.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any further discussion? All right, with that, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 0004-2025 is adopted. All right, next section. We're on to correspondence and actions. Mr. Clerk, do you have anything this evening for us?
Nothing this evening.
And council colleagues? All right, moving on to Section K, representatives. First up, Community Improvement Corporation, Mr. Renner and Ms. Padova.
We did not have a meeting in February, but we do have one coming up later this month on March 18th at 8 o'clock in the committee rooms.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, Madam President. Thanks as always to Council Office for their assistance in preparing the report, which has been included with the agenda. The next meeting for the commission will be on March 13th, and that is it for me this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Councilwoman Padova, Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Thank you. Tickets went on sale over the weekend for Creekside Blues and Jazz Festival. It is quickly approaching. So if you purchase in the month of March, you get the early bird discount. So the cost for tickets is only $10. So anyone planning on going, I encourage you to go online and get those tickets this month for the discount. Again, that's only $10, and that will end at the end of this month. Also on Saturday, the spring and summer version of the Herbal Cocktail Trail was introduced. There are 10 participating establishments on the passport, and that includes a few new ones that have been added to the Herbal Cocktail Trail. Visit Gahanna's annual meeting is Tuesday, March 18th from 5:30 to 7, and that will feature motivational speaker, former NFL and Ohio State wide receiver, Roy Hall Jr. And just recently confirmed, we will also have another very important guest at that meeting, which is Brutus the Buckeye. So I know a lot of people are very excited about that. So get your tickets at Visit Gahanna. And you can come March 18th from 5:30 to 7, give Brutus a high five, and hear Roy Hall Jr. And that's all for me.
Thank you, Councilwoman Padova. Councilwoman Jones, School Board.
Thank you. So just one announcement coming from the district. So March 26th is Spread the Word Day. So you may have seen the shirts around the community, different one every year, but that day is coming up. It's a fundraiser and a day of awareness for our different programs within the district for students with special needs. So t-shirts can be ordered on the website up until the 5th. The website, if you go to the district's Facebook page, scroll down a couple, there's a post there, or reach out to me. I have the link for you as well. On March 26th from 11:30 to 2 in the gym at the high school will be the program in honor of Spread the Word Day. And then the following day, Thursday, March 27th, again in the high school but in the auditorium, is the viewing of the movie Out of My Mind, which is a movie bringing awareness to the disability community. There will be special guests from Cover to Cover Books will be there. A big disability-focused book fair will be a part of that event as well. So encouraging community and colleagues to come out for one or both of those events on March 26th, March 27th, and grab your t-shirts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Official reports, Mayor Jadwin.
Thank you very much, Madam President. First of all, thank you to everyone who braved the cold temperatures yesterday for our very first annual Bicycle Repairman Day at Hanna Park. That event was held in honor of longtime Gahanna resident Denny Oswald, who maybe if you didn't know him by name, you might have recognized him when he was always driving his recumbent bike around the community. But he had a great passion not only for bicycling, but also for bike safety, and was known to just stop and repair bicycles for kids to make sure that their bikes were safely operating around the city. So yesterday was a fantastic day to really bring together fellow cyclists, learn safety tips. We had members of our bike patrol from the Gahanna Division of Police. We had wonderful volunteers from Bicycle One who were there to make bike repairs and tune-ups. Special thanks to Trish Kovacs and members of the BTAC, our Bike and Trail Advisory Committee, for donating free bicycle helmets that were being fitted and given out as well. Director Farrell was there and did a great job in helping to organize that event. And of course to Carol Oswald. This weekend would have been Denny's 80th birthday. And really would just like to express appreciation for her vision to pay forward her husband's passion to make sure that everybody's bicycling safely within our community. It was, again, a fantastic day. It was a little cold, but the sun was warm, and we look forward to making that an annual event. Last Thursday, we held our very first annual procurement fair at the Peak at Edison in partnership with Ohio MBE. I'm pleased to share it was a resounding success. The event was completely sold out. The fair is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and it's an important step forward as we continue to work to support our small businesses and create opportunities for them to connect with others. We also hosted a small business success summit as part of that event. So you didn't have to register for the fair, but you could come and attend that event for free. We had 10 to 12 different organizations that were there to provide resources for businesses, and great feedback from the participants that they found it to be valuable. They were able to make some great connections and identify opportunities for some potential business. I'd like to thank our sponsors. We had Franklin County and Kemba Financial Credit Union that stepped up to help with that event, as well as our host partners, Ohio MBE and the Gahanna Area Chamber of Commerce. I think their partnership underscores what we can accomplish to work together and how we need to work together to lift up all of our community. This particular day was our small business community, and hopefully we'll just one more event and step forward as we continue to do that. I'd like to thank Jen Hackman, our Economic Development Administrator, Tia Ramey, our Communications Manager, and Jen McBroom, my assistant, for all of their work in helping to organize that event. And, of course, to Ms. Rhonda Barber of Ohio MBE. Have exciting news to share with Council on two fronts. Last week, city senior leaders attended the 2025 Ohio City County Management Association Annual Conference, OCMA Annual Conference. There, the City of Gahanna, together with the City of New Albany, was honored and recognized with the annual award for intergovernmental collaboration with regard to the shared services arrangement that we have for our mayor's court. You may recall we entered into that arrangement just a couple of years ago, where we have a joint mayor's court with New Albany. It really allows both municipalities to offer a scalable, efficient mayor's court operation. It really was a groundbreaking, innovative approach to shared services. Really has been viewed as best practice right now. Hopefully, we can be groundbreaking in our own way and lead other municipalities to follow along. But it really allowed us to streamline processes. We're able to reduce taxpayer cost by eliminating overhead and eliminating duplication of infrastructure that's needed. But we did so without sacrificing and compromising the quality of service that's delivered. And we increased accessibility to the courts for residents for both communities. So really proud of the work that has been done by our team. Kudos to Director of Court Services Amanda Parker and Director of Finance Joanne Burry for their work in implementing that. And as well as to our magistrate, Sean Maxfield, who does a great job. I'll give Dean Blamer a shout out as the bailiff in court as well for their orchestration. And I know our city attorney, I think, has been a part of that. Our GFOA award, last week we learned that the City of Gahanna again was awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. And that was for our annual comprehensive financial report for the year end, December 31 of 2023. They take a little bit to catch up to us. This award recognizes the industry's high standards of clearly communicating the city's financial story and really presenting it in a way that is easy to understand for our end users. In this case, it would be our residents and all of our stakeholders. This is the 11th consecutive year that the city has been awarded by GFOA for our, I used to call it an ACFR, now it's a CAFR, I don't know what it's called, CAFR, the Comprehensive Financial Report. But Director Burry does a great job with that, and her team, Senior Director Vollmer, and really all of our directors. It takes months to put that budget book together. And to do so in a way, government financing is not easy. It's not easy to understand, but they do it in a way that is easy for people to follow. And we're just really proud of them. That's been 11 years in a row, so we're going for the dozen for next year. And then final announcement, Citizens Academy registration is open for the next 48 hours. It closes Wednesday. So this will be the second class that we have of the Citizens Academy. We have really just had tremendous feedback from the people who went through the first session in the fall of last year. We I think we limit it to 20. I think we had 26 or 28 applicants last year. And we've had some of them say if we do a 2.0 version, they're in for that as well. But presents a tremendous opportunity to get behind the scenes, get to spend time with the staff that actually goes out and works for them every single day and gets a chance to see the work that they do, how they do it, why they do it, and how it impacts their daily lives. So encourage folks, if they have not yet had a chance to apply for that, please do so. I think we just have a couple of spots left, so it will, again, registration will be open through Wednesday or until the spots are filled. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. City Attorney Tamala Larison.
Yes, thank you. Just a few updates on my end. On the 18th of February was the oral arguments for the tobacco preemption litigation. I think that went very well. In the Speedway litigation in in the state court, the memorandum contra to jurisdiction for the Supreme Court has been submitted on our behalf. And so I feel optimistic with that. And so we are awaiting a decision on whether or not the Supreme Court will hear that case. And finally, in the Taglia litigation, we have filed a motion for judgment on the pleadings. And so we're awaiting a decision on that to see if that ties that off. And so I'll have updates with you as we get decisions from the respective courts. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney Tamala Larison. All right, Section M, council comment. We'll start with Councilwoman McGregor.
Thank you. I was glad to see that they were honoring Denny Oswald. Denny, for many years, he and his neighbor, Colonel Hall, across the street from him, his neighbor, Colonel Hall was a former service director here in Gahanna, and they would drive around on trash day or the night before and collect bicycles that were put out. And then he and Denny would bring them home and they would repair them, and they had a place, someplace that for bikes for kids that didn't have any, and they did this for years and years. And so he was really very much a proponent of bicycles for kids and just getting out yourself and bicycling. So it was nice to see him, this bicycle repair thing done in his honor. He was a great guy. That's all.
Thank you, Mrs. McGregor. Councilwoman Jones.
Yes, just one highlighting my constituent report, which is attached to today's agenda for all that happened in February. And then just a reminder that I do have constituent hours this Saturday, the 8th at 11 a.m. at the library. But that's all for me this evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Councilwoman Padova.
Thank you. I just want to echo Councilman Weaver's comments on the resolution this evening. Thank you to everyone who came out for that, and also for the recap of the Women's Safety Weekend. I loved Amanda's tie-in to the Herb Ladies, which kind of like just brings the whole thing full circle, going back to some of Gahanna's history. So thank you for the presentation of everything that happened that weekend. It was really nice to be there. And with that, that's all for me.
Thank you, Councilwoman Padova. Councilman Renner.
Yes, I just wanted to thank the public for coming out tonight. We had a host of wonderful presentations, and thank you for all those presentations, Councilwoman Barrows. It was really good. Really hats off to London Studer, and congratulations to all of her work. It's wonderful to have people and celebrities in Gahanna to come into these halls. In fact, that's what these halls are for. It's the people, not us. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Mr. Schnetzer.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I want to sound a bit redundant. Mr. Renner made a good point. Thanks to all of our guests that came in today, but particularly London Studer. I think those are some really, really amazing achievements. Shows what dedication and hard work can lead to. And it's nice to kind of live vicariously through, a local celebrity like that, somebody that wears or has worn the Gahanna G, and to see them go on and do, really great things in their lives. So we'll all be, I'm sure, watching her budding career. Good to hear that Denny was honored by the city of Gahanna. He was a figurehead around my neighborhood. In fact, his house is about I think maybe 5 or 6 down from mine. I've had my personal bicycles on his bike rack, and it is amazing what someone that knows what they're doing can quickly fix a bicycle, lickety-split like that. And then, of course, congratulations again. This is becoming a bit of a recurring phenomenon to Director Burry and her team. I can remember very early on in my tenure on council when our budgets came in what I believe were like a dot matrix printout at the account level. And you had to thumb through the entire, I mean, you think ours are thick now. They were probably twice as thick back then. Come a long way. And so that's obviously, it helps with, communication and transparency and all of those good things. So keep up the good work. That's all from me.
Thank you, Mr. Schnitzer. Mr. Weaver.
Nothing further from me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Congratulations to all who are recipients of the OCMA Intergovernmental Collaboration Award, especially to Amanda Parker. I'm sure that she has done a fair amount with that, and to all others who've been involved with supporting that. And again, congratulations to Director Burry for the GFOA recognition. I wanted to make sure to thank Mr. Schultz and Ms. Vollmer for the tour that they took Councilwoman McGregor and I, along with Clerk Van Meter, on Friday. We had the opportunity to tour the facility that is under construction at 825 Tech Center Drive, and really start to understand the extent of the modern policing facilities that we are seeing showcased at 825. That was, again, I think it needs to be repeated frequently, but that is the impetus for our project at 825, was the expanded police facilities and the need for modern police facilities. The current police department is unworkable and not a testament to the force that we have. And so being able to make sure that our officers have the type of space that they need in order to succeed, to be community-oriented leaders, and to get the training that they need is the driving impetus for this project. Beyond that, though, it was phenomenal to see the expanded multipurpose community center starting to take shape. I really think that multipurpose space is going to be an incredible asset to the community in terms of programming, rental space, and availability. And then, of course, the administrative and council facilities will really make sure, to Mr. Renner's point, that our spaces remain as friendly and open to the public as possible. On that note, too, I also wanted to thank Nicole Butler and the Parks and Rec Department for their work in migrating the Parks and Rec board meetings to being hosted here in council chambers and now streamed on YouTube. I think that's a great service to the community and will help folks stay on top of their discussions and that information as well. So thank you to everyone who's been involved with that. That concludes my remarks for this evening. We have one item to go to executive session this evening. There will be no action taken out of tonight's executive session. So when we adjourn from executive session, I expect that we will adjourn from our meeting as well. So with that, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session under authority of Section 5.40A of the Council Rules of Procedure in order to consider the appointment of a public employee or official. Is there a first? I have a first by Mr. Schnitzer.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Renner. And is there any discussion this evening? All right, hearing none. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Schnitzer?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. We will adjourn into the law library. And thank you again to all of our guests for coming this evening. It was great to see such a full house.